Say this straight. Everybody's entitled to walk. And I hold in New Zealand, I'll go into it in a second, I'll talk about something else in a second too. But everybody has the right to walk. You pay tax, you pay your wages, you pay your wages to the government, you work, you contribute to society. And I don't see why no jab, no job, it shouldn't be a thing, let's be honest. It shouldn't be a thing because people who are still have to have the jab are still getting COVID and getting sick and X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make any sense. And demonizing people and basically forcing people to do a thing. Like again, some people can't do it on health grounds, some people just don't want to get it. That's entirely their choice. It's a free country. They're entitled to think for themselves and say, maybe I don't want to get it. Maybe I wait for a while. Some people said they wait for a while to see how it goes and everything like that. And they're entitled to do that. It's a free country again. At any moment they could say, I want to get it, I don't want to get it. And again, it's entirely their choice. It's not up to anybody to decide for them. Because again, it's the same if you had a cow, and the government said in the morning you can't have a cow. And you'd be like, why? Why can I not have a cow? I pay my road tax, I pay my insurance, I go by the rules of the road. There's nothing they could do. As long as you're a law-abiding citizen, and you say, I pay my tax, I follow the rules of the road, I get my insurance, car insurance, I make sure my tyres are in a good condition. The government and the guards can't say anything because you're being a good citizen. You're doing the right thing. And they can't say to you, no, you're not allowed to drive. We forbid you. We're not allowing you anymore. They can't do that. Simple as that, because that's more or less dictatorship. If they're saying to you, you can't do this, even though you have every right to do it. Like again, you have every right to go into your job and work and pay your wage and pay your taxes to the government, pay your taxes to the state, and contribute to society. You're entitled to work 100%. There's nothing that can stop you. There's nothing in the constitution that prevents you from working. Unless it's prostitution or something like that, that's illegal, obviously. But if you work in an ordinary job, you can't be discriminated against for not having the job or not having your vaccine passport or your health passport or whatever you want to call it. But again, I want to talk briefly about Joe Duffy's comments. Again, I just want to say this straight. He is entitled to his opinion, the same as everybody in this country is entitled to their opinion. Some people would disagree with me and say, we need no jab, no job. And, some people would have arguments for that, say X, Y, and Z. And that's understandable. People are entitled to their opinion. People have different views on different things, and that's understandable. In New Zealand, they have brought it in for teachers and for healthcare workers, only for them at the moment, but there will probably be more for public service jobs, probably, for at the moment teachers and nurses. And some people would say, I've seen some people argue about it online, saying, nurses should, because they're treating patients and stuff. And some people might say that's a fair point, and then there's other points, there's arguments against it. Again, it has to be debate about this. It can't be just brought on the whiff and said, we're going to do it, and we're not going to have a debate about it in public. And say, this is the best course of action, and then argue, saying, no, this is the best course. And then somebody comes in and say, this might be the better option. Again, that's what democracy is all about. Having loads of people contributing to a solution, I suppose, how to walk around it or how to walk forward or whatever. That's what democracy is. You can't just, like New Zealand just brought it in without asking anybody and just probably decided to do it. But again, it's up to the people of New Zealand to say, we don't want this, we don't want it. And again, we wait and see. But I want to briefly talk about Joe Duffy's comments today about unvaccinated people staying in the bedroom. If they're not vaccinated, stay in the bedroom. And there was somebody on and he cut him off. But again, Joe Duffy, again, that could be his personal belief. And he's entitled to it. It's a free country. It is a free country. But as a public representative, especially somebody that's on the radio or on the news, you should have a debate about it. You should have a program for the next day. Say, for example, he said that and he bring on a few people forward, a few people against it. And they have an argument and say, we want no jab, no jobs because it saves, protects people X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z because they're in public service, like they're around children, they're around the older people. And they'd be like that. And then there'd be people against this saying, you're entitled to your freedom, you're entitled to work, which would probably be my angle. Again, I'm probably a bit biased. But that's the way I see it. I see that everybody's entitled to work. And if you pay your taxes, and you pay your taxes and you contribute to society, you're entitled to work. There's nothing that can stop you. If you contribute and pay your taxes and be a good citizen, you're entitled to work. There's nothing they can do to stop you. Anybody can do to stop you. If you're working and paying your tax, there's nothing anybody can stop you. You're entitled to work. It's in the constitution. It's in the constitution. You're entitled to work. You're entitled to make a living. But again, that's the thing. Again, Joe Duffy, I disagree with him. I do disagree with him, and he should just debate it and say, again, a football player didn't take the jab. And I know and again, I don't know his situation. Again, that's the thing. We don't know his situation. We have no right to really ask somebody, like say for example me or anybody, did we get the jab? I haven't asked one person in my life so far did they take the jab, the COVID jab or whatever. I haven't asked anybody, I haven't bothered to ask anybody. Because it's none of my business and it's none of anybody's business really. It's our own personal choice. It's up to you and me to decide for ourselves what's right, and maybe with our close family, friends or whatever. But it's not up to us to, if a random person on the street comes and says, did you get the COVID vaccine, or a news presenter or an interviewer or anything like that, they're not allowed to really. They can ask you, but you can say, no, I'm not allowed. Or not allowed, but not allowed, but you don't want to, you just don't feel it's the right time or whatever, X, Y, and Z. But again, that's what democracy is all about. You can ask the question, but some people, again, as that football player decided for himself, again, I'm sure he's not being pushed into taking around to that, but he decided he just didn't feel like it. Again, I heard he said the few, he just said I didn't get around to it, or didn't feel like taking it, or something along them lines. And again, he is entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to say, I'm not, I don't want it or whatever. Because it is a free country and he can decide for himself whether the media kind of piling on him and forcing, kind of bullying him into it. It's not going to do anybody any good, and it's up to him. Again, that's what the mainstream media should be doing. Debating about these things and not just having one side of the narrative. There should be two sides. There should be two people. And same, I would recommend Joe Duffy had people on maybe tomorrow morning or something like that, and had an argument, maybe two people for, two people against, and have a public discussion along with the host, and the host asks questions, whatever. And then they come to a public, and maybe even bring in politicians later on and ask them. But again, I disagree with Joe Duffy, and again, some people would agree with him, but again, that's just me. Again, that's just my personal opinion. Still shoot the messenger. So yeah, take care everybody, and bye.